So I'm coming in here with just an idea, a vague idea of what I want to express. And I have to admit to myself, if I'm going to commit to doing anything live, that I've allowed fear to insert itself into my consciousness and prevent me from being as spirited or liberated as I've always wanted to be and thought myself to be as a streamer. Or not, I don't even want to use that term because it doesn't feel valid. I've spent a lot of time in this absence or whatever this is, tending to real life affairs, family, love, compassion, taking care of those that are closest to us, right? Or forgetting the broader spectrum, those closest to myself. I've become a caretaker by day and a night shift worker by night, and sometimes in between, I try and find some medium and balance with my little hobbies and whatnot. And some of my filler time has been used to be this just absolute consumer of content. But it's a very specific type of content I've found myself watching on YouTube. And I've just found myself inspired to go ahead and watch The Truman Show, which is a classic. It's one of those foretelling tales like 1984 and other dystopian movies that kind of caution of a future or a present that is or will be. And after watching that and just knowing all the content I've been watching, which is people that have tried everything, those that have not succeeded and those that have succeeded, those that have made it to the mountain's peak and then fallen heavily, every bit of it documented, no matter what their intentions were when they started this dream, when they went embarked on this journey and I agreed to this invisible social contract that they would be promoted to anybody and anyone that would watch. And I think a lot of people don't really think of that before going into something. Look at all of the people that have made it to that mountain and are having quite the downfall. You have your people that are universally hated, but they continue to capture the views of many because hate is a viable form of currency. And I don't know which side of the spectrum is worse. Being the person that commits to the hatred and embraces it and makes a pretty good hefty dollar off of it. Like your Boogie 2438, the man that faked cancer for his audience because he was desperate, refuses to get a job. He was almost 500 pounds. Now he's on a show called Lolcow Live. To your Logan Pauls, who we all know is a scammer and has been getting summons here and there. Fousey Tube, Jack Doherty. These are the people that are inspiring the current generation when they're in a world right now where we're all uncertain and we have no idea what is viable or sustainable. But they watch people stream all day. Hello, Fortnite God. What's up, Nesker? There's some people I may not recognize, but I'm just on tangent. I've been holding in for so long that I just have to let this out before I go to work. And I understand and commit. I will always be a 9 to 5er. I am never going to put all of my stake into something as chaotic as streaming for a living. No matter how far up the hilltops you get, everything is on blast. Your past, your present, your future, and then and you're so insulated. You live in this bubble, and you try to make everybody in your life these supporting role characters, and they're no longer real to you. They just become your content to share with others. So you have to find a line of what your own sincerity is, what is really true to you, and not be so artificial. After watching The Truman Show, after being inspired of watching all these content creators rise and fall or continue to exist, and even though I see like a channel like Wings of Redemption, he's got the most troll channels I've ever seen dedicated to any one person on YouTube. And he's clearly miserable, the most miserable individual I've ever seen. But he doesn't know what else to do. He's a 40-year-old man He hasn't worked a day in his life except for sitting on his chair for 12 plus hours, and he's a 450-pound man who just got his gallbladder taken out today, and he streamed before it. He streamed before it to have his wife ask questions to the trolls in his chat that donate. And what's crazy is some of these trolls work out these deals where they don't want to get a strike, so they all have this agreement that they'll just we'll all make this ad revenue together, and they'll pay him out. Some do stand on their own 10 toes and just go on their own independent way, and they fight amongst each other. But there's the existence of perpetual hatred and negativity, toxicity, and there's the existence of the Mr. Beast example, where you have perpetuated all this positivity, and no one will ever live up to this perfection or the illusion of perfection. Hello, Ramen. I will make it a point to try to say hello, but if I get too thrown off of my own mindset, I'll go into a tangent unrelated. So, yeah, like Mr. Beast, I don't think we're gonna watch his eternal downfall. And I've really thought about some of the allegations and looked at different angles of him. This stream is not about him, it's about the totality, the entirety of streaming consciousness, how it already has impacted and or affected our psychology as a species. It's amazing, like Jack Doherty's of the world that are so hated, that have broken the law so wantonly, that get kicked off only to they have so much money they throw 300 grand right back at the kick stream, and they're right back into it. Jack Doherty just got into a huge car accident where he was obviously streaming during hurricane-esque weather. He lives in my county, and he completely wrecked his McLaren, and without any sight outside of himself, without any thought, he had his passengers, his friends in the car, his friend right next to him who got injured and was profusely bleeding from his head. Jack's first instinct was take my phone, get a good shot after they're done panicking inside the car. And this is being streamed to tens of thousands of people. This is what people have turned to instead of, I don't know, your sitcoms and your movies. I think the majority of attention now has gone to this, and it's going to continue to go this way. I don't know if we'll ever truly see the end of a TV era, so to speak, but we are in some uncharted territory, and now it's becoming kind of a normal thing to see people in their little, insulated bubble walking around, screaming their lives to everybody, opening any criticisms. You have to be prepared for anything and everything, good, bad, and ugly. And I don't think that everybody's built for that. I don't think I am, but I don't really care. Like, I just like to rant. I This is just a part of me. I've always had some creative side to me. It doesn't take much creativity to hit a button and start spewing whatever's in your brain. But I've always enjoyed some form of, I don't know, writing, drawing, or I guess this is just some strange hobby I've picked up along the way. I've veered away from making compact shows, and I've become, as of late, just another consumer, another number in a view count, another tick on the box, a like on a thumb screen. And I still find myself amazed with all of these stories, the rise and fall of this person or that. Check out the Internet Anarchist if you want to see how many people have taken such a plunge from they were so passionate at starting out. The sky was the limit, and I was briefly blinded just like that, thinking that, oh my God, my life has changed overnight. It's so easy to get caught up in that, but what's also so amazing is how people can turn into rabid packs and want to see the very thing that they once rooted for fall, and fall publicly, and make it as humiliating as possible, and then make content out of that. So, in a way, like one of these channels that I've watched, this Wings person, I cannot stand that he complains every day about how miserable he is about his own trolls that this man has provoked. They're mostly old fans that he has turned on. Most of his mods, these are people that he has publicly humiliated, and he gets trolled 24/7, but this man is also making bank. But he's also the most miserable paradox of a human being I have ever seen. I don't know what example is to be set here with this rambling here. There is maybe none. It's just an insight into being more so a consumer as of late, not having as much time as I used to. Tending to my mother's care has been the priority. And of course, I cannot stop having income, and YouTube is not the way. It's not the way. Streaming is not the way for me. I will continue to try to do things that I personally enjoy, with this vlogging or podcasting. I'll continue to traverse this little strange island, but I'm too self-aware of what putting too much effort and stake in is. Perhaps, I don't think I said that right. Perhaps I could definitely do all the things to improve this and trying to be successful at this, learning the editing and making uploads and videos or getting a better graphics, whatever, or PC. But I have made the conclusion that if I'm to just live a life, I can't do it artificially. I don't want to be a person that's pretending to be anything, or pretending any of the things that come out of my mouth are real or fake. They always have to be sincere. I think of a year or two or three ago when I took this very, very seriously, and I opened myself up, my emotions, my emotional maturity up for things that I wasn't prepared for, and it was a very humbling lesson. But if anything's to be taken away, it's like live in the here and now. Don't just be a consumer. Be a creator, but don't just be a creator for the sake of some random channel, one out of infinity, on a platform. Be a creator in your own life. Create your own new memories. Create your own authentic friendships, relationships. Focus on that. Tend to it. This is a dead horse kind of a line, but this life is your garden. Protect it, tend to it, feed it, and just don't get lost in it as you're going along. This was a rant that I've been holding in a long time. I don't know at what point. Oh, and speaking of, I don't know. I didn't know. I don't know why I'm transitioning into this. When I left the last job and have allowed myself to accept some of the changes in my life, which have been not so much traumatic. It's just we all learn to deal with traumatic events in different ways. I'm somebody that's had lung surgery years ago, and when I left the old job and went back to an old job and taking care of my mother and having various family members come in and check in, and I see myself kind of losing touch with some of the closest people to me because I feel so insulated. I've allowed myself to kind of Truman show myself and fall into a trap of repetition. And so I have picked this nasty little habit back up, and now I'm a chain smoker. Self-destructive much, I suppose. And I think there is a part of me that acknowledges this is destructive, therefore, that's why it's in my hand right now. I wonder what YouTube's toss has about smoking. They have such a hard-on for everything else. How hard is it to spew the authentic truth when you have to watch your words so carefully? The internet anarchist made a video about a person that got involved in the worst kinds of crimes, and his video was demonetized because he did not protect the worst words that are not foul language, but they hint at something atrocious. And they said, nope, this is not family friendly enough. Can YouTube and all these other platforms pretend that we're on any kind of PG rated spectrum here? The things that happen on these platforms, there's nothing PG about it. Just embrace it. Be real. Get real. I don't deny missing when my chats would be stacked with support and moderators, and it's a good feeling, but it also can become very much like a psychological drug, where completely. I would wake up, I remember, and the first thing I'd do every day was look at my sub count or view count. You can't do anything like that. You have to just be in the moment and just embrace who you are and what you are. And don't let anybody or anything else get into your head and give you pause for a doubt. I'd like to give a shout out to AD, by the way. AD, I watched you, I think, a lot, 5, 6, some odd months ago. I've lost track. I think I saw, I don't know. I think you're a good, you're definitely a decent human being. But there were some elements when certain people would go there, I just didn't want to be like associated or tagged. But I understand that you, and I'm totally cool with stream sniping. You showed when I went to my little local comic book shop. That's a slice of me that I chose to share. So I'm cool with that. And if you are someone that checks out this channel, we should play on the PlayStation sometime. I find myself forcing. Sometimes I force myself to get back into trying to sit down and keep the attention span to play the video game, because all of our attention spans are all over the place. Hence why I'm raving like a mad lunatic. There's some people that I miss. A shout out to Stephen A., who joined me briefly last night as I was testing streaming with my PlayStation. A shout out to White Dragon, who has always been around to uh, show support, such sincere support, and to also challenge me on some of my thoughts. To everybody, there's so many. Pitbulls in MMA, independent many. I haven't been doing much on the podcast front with Stuck at Night, Stuck in the Middle, or any of that, or collaborations, although I have a bunch of new contacts. A lot of people now that I associate with have gone to Instagram and or TikTok. I met a lovely young woman at my job the other day. She's got like 180,000 followers, and she's got all these sponsors and this and that. And I found myself like happy for her, but also kind of heartbroken. And I don't know. I think she's still so young that she doesn't know what's ahead of her. Of course, that comes with youth. I just don't know if she is really aware of what comes with signing her anonymity. I always struggle with that word. Away. And this is like a big flex for so many people. So many young people that I meet. Everybody's got a channel now. Every platform is an oversaturated market. The only thing you could ever hope to bring to any of these platforms is sincerity. If you fake it, you'll be seen right through and through. And if somebody's out there that wants to cancel you or show you in a less than positive light, it will happen. Be prepared. Occam's razor, Murphy's law, chaos theory, whatever, anything that can happen will happen. And it's up to you if you want it to be shown to the world or to those that dare to click on some obscure link on a web page, or if you want to do it privately. I just wanted to do an authentic update and talk about real thoughts that I've had, not just drone on about politics. I'm exhausted with that. I think maybe we all are collectively. I'm sick of fighting within a system that is completely bent against us. Are we ever going to see the prosperity that we all hope for? Or are we honestly just believing a lie? Very much like Truman in the Truman Show. He chose to walk out of that so-called cell of a world. And I don't know what that would be like in reality, to choose to walk out. This, at least I can pick and choose the time when I go live and when I want to speak. And I have no schedule. I've always had problems with schedules unless it's like an official job. I'm always early at real work, where real bread is, because it's a necessity. We have to make a living, but that too feels like a trap. And I often find myself idly thinking, I wish I could be there or do this or that. When in reality, I know it's not going to change. I guess, I don't know, growing to peace or to terms with that is bittersweet. I'm trying to make something peaceful for myself in this little slice of life, this brief time we have in this, in our little realities. We all shape our own realities. We all perceive what we see to be the ultimate reality when there's so many different perspectives. And that's what I always wanted to seek. I always wanted to do more with interviews and stuff like that. If you haven't seen Terrifier 3, by the way, I highly recommend it. If you like good old fashioned gore movie stuff, they just keep upping the ante. And I'm a huge fan. I can't wait to own all three of the Terrifier movies. I think I want to show off my coveted comic collection before I actually stop this little vlog. So into my personal space we go. Then off to work I go. Let's see how much money I've invested, and I've reopened my eBay store. I haven't used eBay since 2005 or something, but hey, what's up, pup? Let's see all the money I have spent. Is it a sad thing? Does it bring me joy? This is a lot of money right here that I have put into this hobby. All of this stuff. All of this stuff. And I tend to sell 80% of it. Just so much, so much, so much. And I don't know, one YouTuber commented about how comics is escapism, and I retorted, you're streaming video games and streaming at the same time, and this is your everyday. This is your more than your 9 to 5. This is your till waking till you sleep. Tell me that's not escapism in and of itself. I just yeah, it's time to part with some of this stuff, and just money would be more of a currency, literally, to travel. I think ultimately what I'm seeking is something different than something more. I wanted just a good, authentic, progressive patriot rant. I know it's something that has been used to poke fun at me, the way I talk, or how I live, but let no one judge you higher than themselves, or whatever the case. Just as long as you find your own inner peace, all will be well. And on that note, I have to get going for work. Hopefully I'll turn that damned PC on, but sometimes I look at the camera, the mic, the stand, the whole setup, and I'm like, I just don't want to go back. And I don't know why I have that feeling, but to conquer that is, and to figure it out, I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and go live, and from there, and pull whatever I feel is relevant or interesting and share it, because ultimately I think that's what this or these platforms have always been about, is sharing something. And I've always hoped that it would be a something that's valuable to someone. And that's all I got. I'm still Trump 2024. I'm sick of debating about it, but I do value the debates more so with real people and not personalities. Artificial personalities that have to stick to one line of thinking, can never change course because they have to have consistency and never change their minds. That's some crazy rules. The tribalism still. An old supporter commented to me a couple of days ago, watch out where you comment. Like, come on, man, grow up and you know who you are. Like, you, clearly, you're a consumer, you have a channel, do something more with the channel and worry less about who does what, when, where, and why. You got this one life to live, don't spend it worrying about what other people are doing on something as insignificant as this. Okay, I have to get ready for work, and I hope anybody that sees this, especially old supporters, just a hello, I hope all is well. I'm sorry I've not been so available. My mother means the world to me. She is 80, and she requires the majority of my attention, and so do the bills. I think I'm going to, this is too personal to be talking aloud, but I'm just going to say it. I'm going to take all of my stock out of the last job that I was in to help, in combination with my father, to pay the entire mortgage off. And then there's still more ahead, but it is my duty as the son to ensure that my father can retire, and that's my goal. That's the only goal I have in life. I want to see him relax in the sun and not have to worry about anybody else but himself for a change in this life. Okay, everybody, make it a wonderful day.